If you just hit $10,000 in net worth, congratulations. You're also about to make the biggest financial mistake of your life. I'm not even joking. There's a hidden trap at this exact milestone that destroys more wealth than student loans, credit cards, and impulse buying combined. And the worst part? Nobody sees it coming. Stay with me until the end because I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid it and actually turn that 10,000 into real wealth. Look, I've been studying wealth patterns for years, and I keep seeing the same thing happen over and over again. People grind, they sacrifice, they finally scrape together their first $10,000, and then they sabotage themselves in ways they don't even realize. In this video, I'm breaking down the 3 invisible mistakes people make right after hitting this milestone, why your brain is literally wired to fall into this trap, and the simple framework wealthy people use that most beginners completely miss. By the end, you'll know exactly what to do with that money so it actually works for you instead of disappearing like it does for 90% of people. So here's what happens the second most people see that $10,000 balance. Their brain goes into celebration mode. You've been eating ramen, skipping vacations, saying no to friends, and now that number finally has 5 digits. So what do? You reward yourself. Just a little upgrade, right? Maybe it's a nicer apartment. Maybe it's finally buying that thing you've had bookmarked for months. Maybe it's just eating out more because you've earned it. And here's the thing, you have earned it. But this is where the trap snaps shut, because $10,000 feels like wealth, but it's not. Not yet. Let me give you the math. If you're making $50,000 a year, $10,000 is only 20% of your annual income. That's basically 2 months of financial breathing room. That's not wealth, that's a safety net. And the second you start treating it like you're rich, it evaporates. There's actually a study from the Journal of Consumer Research that found people increase their spending by an average of 35% within 6 months of hitting a savings milestone. 35%. That's insane. So that $10,000, it's gone in a year, and you don't even know where it went. Here's what most people ignore. Wealthy people don't celebrate money milestones by spending. They celebrate by compounding. Every dollar you upgrade your lifestyle at this stage is a dollar that can't work for you. And that's exactly what separates people who build wealth from people who just cycle through money their entire lives. Okay, so let's say you're smarter than the average person. You're not going to blow it on lifestyle upgrades. You're going to invest it. Good. But here's where the second trap comes in, and this one's even more dangerous because it feels responsible. You've probably heard that you need to diversify, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So you take that $10,000 and you split it up. A little in stocks, a little in crypto, maybe some gold. Maybe you're eyeing real estate crowdfunding, and you think you're being smart. But you're not diversifying, you're diluting, and there's a massive difference. When you only have $10,000, spreading it across 10 different things means you have $1,000 in each. And here's the brutal truth. $1,000 in the stock market is basically noise. Even if it goes up 20% in a year, you made $200. That's not changing your life. That's barely a weekend trip. The real reason wealthy people diversify is because they have enough capital that each position is meaningful. If you have $1 million and you put 10% in stocks, that's $100,000. A 20% return is $20,000. That's real money. That changes things. But at $10,000 total, you don't have enough to make diversification work. What you need is concentration. You need to go all in on the 1 or 2 things that will actually move the needle for you at this stage. And for most people, that's either their career, a high-yield savings account while they're learning, or a low-cost index fund that they're going to hold for decades. I know that sounds boring. It doesn't feel exciting like crypto or day trading or picking individual stocks. But excitement is expensive, and at $10,000, you can't afford expensive. You need reliable. Now, here's the trap that almost nobody talks about. And this is the one that keeps people stuck forever. When you hit 10,000 in net worth, your focus shifts from earning to protecting. You start obsessing over interest rates, investment returns, tax optimization, and you completely forget the most powerful wealth building tool you have, your income. Think about it. Let's say you put that $10,000 into an investment that returns 10% a year. That's actually really good. Most people don't get that consistently. But 10% of 10,000 is $1,000. $1,000 in a year. Now, let's say instead of obsessing over that 10,000, you spent that same energy increasing your income by just 20%. If you're making $50,000 a year, that's $10,000 extra. In 1 year, the same amount it took you months or years to save. Do you see the problem? At this stage of wealth building, your energy and attention are worth way more than your money. But the second people hit that first milestone, they flip the script. They start acting like investors when they should still be acting like earners. Here's what the data shows. A study from Fidelity found that people who focused on income growth in their 20s and early 30s ended up with 3 times more wealth by age 40 than people who focused on investment optimization with small amounts. 3 times. Because when your base is small, returns don't matter much. But when your income is growing, your base gets bigger every single year. And here's the psychological trap. Focusing on investing feels like you're building wealth. You're checking portfolios, reading financial news, optimizing allocations. It feels productive. But focusing on income growth is harder. It means uncomfortable conversations with your boss. It means learning new skills. It means maybe switching jobs or starting a side hustle. That's scary. That's uncertain. So people avoid it and convince themselves that 10% returns on $10,000 is the path to wealth. It's not. The wealthy people I've studied all say the same thing. In the beginning, your job is to earn and save aggressively. Investing comes later when you actually have real capital to deploy. But most people get that backwards, and they wonder why they're still broke at 35. Now, let me hit you with the psychological trap that ties all of this together. When you hit $10,000, you're more vulnerable to comparison than at any other point in your financial journey. And this is where people completely derail themselves. You start looking around. You see people your age buying houses, driving new cars, taking expensive vacations, and suddenly your $10,000 feels like nothing. You feel behind. You feel like you're missing out. So you do one of two things. Either you try to keep up and blow that money trying to look successful, or you get so discouraged that you stop trying altogether. Both are disasters. Here's the truth. $10,000 is simultaneously nothing and everything. It's nothing compared to what you need for retirement. It's nothing compared to a house down payment in most cities. But it's everything because it proves you can do it. It's the hardest money to save. There's a concept in behavioral economics called the first dollar effect, the psychological effort required to save your first significant amount of money is exponentially higher than saving the second, third, or fourth. Because that first milestone requires behavior change. It requires you to become a different person, someone who delays gratification, someone who thinks long-term, someone who can say no. Once you've done that once, doing it again is easier. The second 10,000 comes faster, the third even faster, but only if you don't sabotage yourself right at the beginning by comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Most people don't talk about this, but wealth building is not linear. The beginning is brutal. You're grinding for months to see tiny progress. But then something shifts. Your income grows. Your investments start compounding. Your skills get more valuable. And suddenly, the same effort that used to get you $1,000 is getting you $10,000. But you only get there if you survive the early game. And the early game is all mental. Stop looking at what other people have and start tracking your own progress. Are you better than you were 6 months ago? A year ago? That's the only comparison that matters. So let me bring this all home. If you've got $10,000 in net worth right now, you're not rich, but you're also not broke. You're at the most critical inflection point in your entire financial life. What you do in the next 12 months will determine whether you actually build wealth or whether you spend the next decade stuck in the same place. Don't upgrade your lifestyle yet. Don't spread your money so thin that nothing matters. Don't stop focusing on growing your income. And don't compare yourself to people who are 10 years ahead of you. The $10,000 trap is real, and it's destroyed more potential millionaires than any market crash ever has. But now you know it exists, and that means you can avoid it. If this video helped you see money differently, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Drop a like if you made it this far, because that tells me you're serious about this, and go watch my video on how to turn 10,000 into 100,000 in 5 years. I break down the exact strategy step by step. Your future self is going to thank you for watching this today. I'll see you in the next one.